Kodiak is an exploration company in the copper space. We are focused on the MPD project in southern British Columbia, where we had some considerable exploration success, made a high-grade discovery, and are just gearing up for another exciting exploration season. And with copper, the copper price just starting to rally, this is probably an ideal time to look at copper plays such as Kodiak copper. Couple of words about the copper market in general. Copper is essential for the energy transition. I don't think I'm telling you anything new there. All the technologies that underpin the green revolution and the electrification, whether that's electrical vehicles, whether that's wind, solar, all those are very copper intensive and require a lot more copper than the technologies they replace. And this slide shows a quote from Rio Tinto CEO: "To enable any plausible growth in green energy, more copper will be required in the next 25 years than was consumed in the last 500. I think that sums it up. We are in for years, if not decades, of strong demand. And if you look at the opposite side of the equation, at the supply side, there's a very different picture. On the left here, you see a chart from Goldman Sachs. Many other market commentators have similar charts. You see a big deficit opening up. Goldman Sachs, this number is 8 million tons. There are others who predict 5 million, 9 million. I don't know what the right number will be, but just to put this into perspective, 8 million tons of deficits, that's literally dozens of mines. A very large copper mine would produce maybe 500,000 tons of copper, and a normal, smaller sized one's 100,000 tons. So to fill a gap of 8 million tons, you need multiple big new mines. And if you look at the chart on the right, you see what's in the pipeline, the mines, the deposits that have been found and that are being built. And the picture there is very, very stark. If you look from the 90s to now, the trend is clear. There haven't been many discoveries, particularly in the last 10 years. And since it takes 20 years to build a mine from discovery to production, we know already now that in the next 10 years, there will not be any big new mines coming because they haven't been found in the last 10 years. So it's very clear, not much supply coming on, more mines needed to fill this demand for the energy transition. And that exactly is the reason why Kodiak is in copper. Couple of words about the team, obviously very important. Chris Taylor is the founder and chairman of Kodiak Copper. You probably know Chris Taylor from our sister company, Great Bear, which he also founded and made into a great discovery success, which ended up with $2 billion for shareholders. Major, major, major success. And Chris is a geologist, very creative, very out of the box thinking. What he did with Great Bear is he took a project that not many people liked, lots of people had looked at, and he just interpreted it in a different way, took a new approach, and yeah, the rest is history. Chris is a very out of the box thinking, very innovative geologist, big part of Great Bear success and also big part of Kodiak success. Myself, my background is more the business side of things. I have been in resources now for over 20 years, and almost 10 of those with Rio Tinto, doing things like business development, business evaluation, M&A, strategy, so more the financial and commercial business side of things. And Chris and myself, we're very complementary in that way in what we bring to the company. Also on the slide, John Robbins, important part of the team. John Robbins is an advisor and shareholder, and John Robbins is also the principal and founder of the Discovery Group, which many of you, I am sure, have heard of. Discovery is a loose alliance of exploration companies. Kodiak is one of them. And we just all work together out of the same office, otherwise all independent companies. And the group is just an incredible source of expertise, contacts, capital markets experience, and is a fantastic group to be part of. Many investors also really like it because it simply gives credibility. Discovery has been around for many years, has raised lots of capital and returned lots of capital to shareholders, many big successes in the group. And investors take confidence from the fact that Kodiak is a Discovery Group company, because not many companies get admitted to the group, and it's a bit of a stamp of confidence that the companies in the group are serious companies with solid projects. That's the corporate background to Kodiak. And now, as I said, I have a video that gives an introduction to our MPD project in southern British Columbia. Let me start the video, and Julian, if the sound doesn't work, please give me a quick heads up, then we'll just skip over it and I take you through it with the presentation. So off we go.
Kodiak Copper is located in British Columbia's prolific copper belt known as the Quesnel Trough, which runs through the south of the province. Kodiak has caught the market's attention with a new copper gold discovery at its MPD project.
MPD is very accessible. It's a 3 hours drive from Vancouver, near the towns of Merritt and Princeton. Infrastructure and accessibility is obviously very important for economic potential and future development. What's great about the MPD project is its location. We are here in southern BC, where you can work year-round, and in a very established mining area. There are a number of large mines nearby, for example, Copper Mountain, or also Highland Valley, New Afton. So it's a very established mining area, and everything you need for an exploration project is right at our fingertips, which makes our work very cost-effective.
One of the things I noticed when we were reviewing the MPD project initially was the presence of copper oxides over many kilometers on surface. So what it indicated was that we were sitting on top of a major porphyry system, and certainly the right type of rocks that indicated that there could be a major discovery to be made. This project has the potential to host a major copper porphyry discovery. And of course, with the drilling that we've done recently, we've shown that that's the case. Now, on initial review of this project, what was really impressive is that we had over 100 drill holes over 10 kilometers, and all of these holes have copper in them. And when we're looking at the rock, we saw the right types of rocks and the right types of features that indicated we could be sitting on top of a major copper system.
The MPD project was drilled historically since the 60s, so for over 50 years. And most of this historic drilling was very shallow, almost all only down to between 100 and 200 meters. And that is where we saw the opportunity. So we drilled deeper, we drilled down to over 800 meters. And that's where we got our first discovery hole, right here at this location. It was a hole that was mineralized top to bottom and had in the middle a very nice high-grade zone. That was the first time that we saw that in this large porphyry system, there are higher grade zones present.
This is some of the best looking drill core that has been drilled in this part of British Columbia. Now we're located here, we're in Merritt, and that means that in all the areas around us, we have copper mines in both directions. What you typically see in this region is about 1/3 of the grade. The grade that we've drilled here on the copper and the gold side is 3 or 4 times higher than many of the mines in this area. The types of alteration that we see, the potassic feldspar alteration, the silicification, the presence of chalcopyrite, presence of bornite, These are all indicative features of a strongly mineralized copper center.
We've made a great start and had some fantastic high-grade results early on in our drill program. We have now gained Teck Resources as a major shareholder. So now we have our work cut out. We have a large 10 square kilometer area of historic drilling and have only poked deeper holes into one small corner of it. That means lots more drilling to come and lots more potential for our shareholders to be unlocked. It'll be an exciting time for Kodiak going forward. So that was the quick overview. Here you see the map where MPD is located, our project, and I cannot highlight enough how important location is. We are in an existing mining district with all the infrastructure right there, workforce, electricity, roads. We're literally just off a highway, and that just makes exploration a whole lot more cost effective than if we're somewhere in the Arctic North, in the high Andes, where you often find other copper projects. And this will be even more of an advantage in the future when it comes to building a mine, which is just a whole lot easier in an existing mining district than it is anywhere else. So that was a big reason why we got involved in the MPD project in the first place, and it is just a major, major advantage. When we took on the project in 2019, what's very important to understand is it wasn't a greenfield project at all. It had, in fact, a lot of work done already. At today's cost, it would be more than $20 million of exploration spent on the property, thousands of meters of drilling. So when we started out, we knew already there is a lot of copper and gold there. You see on this map, all these black dots, those were historic holes, almost 400 of them. So we saw a big footprint of a big, big system with copper and gold already drilled. Most of the drilling was very shallow, and our view was that there was a lot more potential there than what was drilled historically. And one of the key reasons why the historic explorers could never make it work was that nobody ever had the consolidated project. All of the previous exploration was done on smaller land packages, and we were for the first time able to acquire the consolidated land package. And for a big porphyry system, that really is key to make it a success. And that was really the first step for us to make this an exploration success. So we started drilling, and we were fortunate and right in our maiden drill program made a discovery. In 2020, we came out with this hole at what is now called the gate zone. This is a nice, long, high-grade hole with high-grade copper and gold. And that was a complete game changer for Kodiak. At the time, we saw a big rally in our share price. We raised $12.7 million. Teck Resources became involved, invested $8 million, became our largest shareholder with 9.9%. And that again resulted in another rally of our share price because investors saw that as a big vote of confidence that a big company such as Teck becomes involved early on. So that was in late 2020, our discovery. And with the money we raised, that meant the years since then, we have been very busy drilling. We have now in total drilled almost 75,000 meters on the project. And in the first 2 years after the discovery, so 21 and 22, we drilled out the gate zone. And in this map, you see what the gate zone looks like now. The red corridor outlines the zone of mineralization. The gate zone is now approximately a kilometer in length. We've drilled it down to 900 meters, and it is now a large, high-grade, nice and continuous porphyry center and significant size. So that was the work in 21 and 22. very successful. We're certainly very pleased with where we got to. But what is very important to understand is that the gate zone is only one out of numerous targets on the property. So last year, we did another big drill program, 18,000 meters, more than that, 18.5. And we took the model that was successful at the gate zone, and we tested 5 other targets on the property. You see here on the right our property map. The gate zone is here in the northwestern corner of the property. And those targets that are highlighted in yellow, those are the targets we tested last year. So 2023 was a very important exploration season for Kodiak, because essentially we set out to show that MPD is not just the gate zone, but that there are multiple other mineralized zones, and that we do have a big system, as our thesis was always right from the start. So we drilled those 5 targets. We have so far results from 3, from Man, from West, and from South. The remaining results will come soon. With those 3 zones that we tested, we had success 3 times. We drilled and were able to show that those zones were much, much bigger than previously thought. All of those zones had some historic drilling, and we were able to extend them significantly with our drilling. And we now have, with the gate zone, 4 zones that are kilometer scaled, large zones of mineralization. And the project is starting to look much, much bigger than was previously thought. I have just one example from the South Zone, just to illustrate what we have seen on the project, and then the type of potential that we also still have. So let me show you our results from the South Zone. Here on the left, you see the plan map, and you see the South Zone here at the bottom. Historically drilled, these are these little black dots, historical drill holes. There's another zone here, mid-zone, and another zone here, the added zone. All those were historically drilled with a little bit of shallow drilling. And previously, those zones were thought of individual small zones. Now, our interpretation was, or is, that this is one much larger zone. And the background that you see on this map, this pink zone, that is a soil anomaly, that's copper on surface. And that is what led us to our thesis that this is actually one big zone. And you look here at 2.3 kilometers in total. So this is a big, big zone. And last year, with our first drilling in this zone, we started out at the South Zone, and we drilled 1 hole, and that's this one here, up towards the mid-zone, to test our thesis that this is actually one big zone. And you see this hole here on the right in this cross-section. So you have here again the South Zone, and these little lines here near the surface, that's a historic drilling. And here's the mid-zone. And we drilled 1 long big hole from the South Zone and underneath the shallow drilling at the mid-zone. And this hole was more than 1 kilometer in length and was more or less continuously mineralized. So with this 1 hole, we have shown that these are not 2 small zones, but actually this is 1 large zone of mineralization. And you can see on the plan map that we're only at the small corner of this big soil anomaly, so easy to see where the future potential is and where we will be drilling more. There is a lot more potential to show that this is actually 1 very large zone. And just to put it into perspective, this is, as I said, 2.3 kilometers. That's about twice the length of what the gate zone, our initial discovery, currently is. So we're certainly very excited to get back to this zone and explore it further. That brings me to our outlook for this year. We're just gearing up for the 2024 exploration season, have another big exploration and drill program planned. We'll be announcing further plans very soon. We have in total on the MPD property 24 target areas, Gate Zone, South Zone, and more than 20 more. And to date have drilled 8 of them. So there is a lot more potential for shareholders to be unlocked, a lot more discovery potential. And this year, as I said, we will be drilling more. We will be drilling several targets, and it should be a very exciting exploration season. An interesting new development this year for us is we have started working with some new AI technology for drill targeting. Are very excited about the initial results. As you can imagine, exploration, you have huge amounts of data, and particularly a project that is very data rich and target rich, like the MPD project, which has literally decades of exploration information. And AI enables us to work through this data much more efficiently and home in on the most promising targets quicker and with less cost than we would otherwise be able to. So very excited to be working with this AI tool. It really superpowers our exploration capability, and we've been working with this for a couple of months and are just finalizing the targets and picking the targets that we will be drilling this year. And watch this space. We'll have an announcement coming up soon. That brings me to my last slide, our capital structure. Very important, of course. We still have cash in the treasury, 3 million currently, so well placed. Another important number on the slide is our shares outstanding, which are 64 million. We are a tightly held company. We have been in the past able to raise money at good prices with minimal dilution to our shareholders, and we want to keep it that way. Ownership, as I mentioned, Tech Resources is our largest shareholder with 9.9%. They invested originally when we made our original discovery, first discovery in 2020, and have been investing on both financings we did since then. So they've been a very supportive shareholders. They like what they see. They have the same vision for the project as we do. We have one bank, independent analyst covering us, that's Corp Securities. You see our share price at the bottom here. The big spike on the left, that's when we made the original discovery. We then held up between $1 and $1.50 for 1.5 years. Had a lot of exploration success, and over the last 1.5 years, when the general market was in a real rut and everybody saw their share prices decline, we did too, and our share price is now at the between 60 and 70 cents. Certainly not where I want to see it, and certainly not reflecting our exploration success. But I believe Kodiak is in a good place. We were able, unlike many of our peers, to continue working and do big exploration programs in the last 2 years when the market was very weak. So we were able to really progress our project and now have results to show and are very well placed as and when the market turns. And the copper price has just started rallying. The last couple of weeks have been really strong, and copper majors share prices are already up a lot and are really strong, going strong. Typically what you see is the juniors coming with a bit of a delay, Our share price is now up 50% from its low of 40 cents. So we're certainly going in the right direction. And as I said, when I started out, I think now's the time to get invested. It's a very good time to look at copper plays such as Kodiak, and we have a lot of exciting news and a big, exciting exploration program coming up that has the potential to really generate returns for our shareholder. Thank you. That brings me to the end, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, this was a great presentation. Thank you very much, Claudia. First off, thank you for waking up so early and going through the presentation. I guess this is not the first time you're giving it, because we didn't see that it was so early in your side of the world. Two things about it. So first off, what are the implications that you would have, let's say, one deposit versus a system? What does this imply for her shareholders behind? Does it imply that there's like 7 other pits, that it just costs more and so on? What are the real advantages of having a system rather than just one single deposit?
Look, the reason why we got attracted to MPD in the first place was its size potential, because we think, and we are now well into showing that this is a big porphyry system that has the potential to become a big mine and hence have real value. A porphyry system has the potential to be a big mine and is typically a project that a major ultimately brings to fruition. And for us, why it's attractive is if we can show that this is, in fact, a large system, then a major eventually will be willing to buy it at a big price tag. And just to put it into perspective, there is a comparable company called GT Gold that made a discovery, also porphyry discovery, in British Columbia, and I think is a good comparable to what Kodiak is doing. And yeah, they made a discovery, drilled for a couple of years, and eventually got taken out by Newmont for almost $500 million. And that's really the potential for value generation that's inherent in a copper porphyry exploration company such as Kodiak.
Well, this is a clear statement. I hope attendees understood that and listened carefully. I think that this is your value proposition without a doubt. And it's right away 4 o'clock and time to cut it, Claudia. So thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you very much again for your time. And we'll be continuing following the Kodiak copper story. It is developing very well. And with the new drilling campaign that's coming, we're all pretty excited to see the result of that.
Thank you.